What's going on, people? What's going on? Back with some more news stories. Joy, I called the audible on the play. I'm gonna address your comments. You said it in JJ live tomorrow when I reviewed that last live that you did. Remember, I reviewed every one of them except for one. So since you just won't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna review that one and do what I do. Um, so tonight we're just gonna go through some most strange news stories, and I did a little homework. I went through the damn Murdoch footage, and I found the damn press conference for the big news they were supposed to release, which is I don't even know why there's big news that he's asking for a retrial and whatever the fuck it is. I don't know why there's big news. That's what we're gonna do tonight. I'm sorry for the I didn't feel like taking Joy out. We're gonna do Joy tomorrow. Hump day to the weekend. That's a 3 hour live, but she had the nigga who was live a few minutes ago with 12 people watching talking about happy birthday mama, he was on the panel and dangling. Now, I find it funny that this nigga is legendary and he's consistently had 11 and 12 people watching. They didn't got tired of you, Mike. They didn't got tired of your mama too, apparently. Because you would think you would have a big turnout on your mama birthday as much as you done cried and said niggas and win it and shit. The sector should have been over there backing you up, but they're not. So yeah, I get to y'all tomorrow. And nigga, we've heard you say you going in a direction so many times. Like, don't nobody believe you no more, nigga. Just say you ain't gonna talk shit for a couple months. And then, because it's getting cold, but then as soon as you get situated, you'll be back out talking shit. Just say that. We know it's getting cold in Detroit. It's cold in Memphis, shit. All right, first story. Cleveland woman gets eviction notice. Damn it, my speaker's cut off. Cleveland woman gets eviction notice, loses Section 8 after complaints about unsafe conditions. So apparently she was complaining about her living conditions and they kicked off Section 8 and out the house. Channel.
Right channel.
But there were some Democrats.
Just one station. Thanks for joining us for the news at 11 o'clock. I'm Chris Fry. A young mother served with an eviction notice from the apartment she just moved into. She believes it's retaliation for her countless complaints about uninhabitable conditions. Michelle Nick's live tonight with the details. Michelle.
Good evening, Chris. The young mother tells me she moved into the home in July because she wanted a larger living space for her and her young daughter. But she feels her complaints about unsafe and unhealthy living conditions unfairly cost her the roof over her head.
It's not okay. It's not safe. It's not healthy. And I have a 4-year-old asthmatic daughter who can't even be here because it's not livable.
Ashley Abernathy says she's living a nightmare after moving into this duplex on Harvard Avenue in July. Hours after moving in, she learned the sinks in the kitchen and bathroom won't drain. Most of the electrical outlets don't work. Even the refrigerator had to be moved by the sink and the only kitchen outlet that has power. But there's more.
Feces are in the basement. We were getting this weird smell from the vents. And one day I went down and water, toilet paper rolls, urine, feces are just floating at the bottom of the stairs in the basement.
Even the carpet, a tripping hazard.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have wanted them to fix shit. I just would have been ready to move. My complaint would have been, I ain't staying here next month. I'm out. That have been my complaint. Hey, I'm breaking my lease. This is ridiculous. Do y'all see this shit? She moved in July, so she's been there a couple months. But god damn, this just sounds deplorable.
Pulled up after Abernathy went to Cleveland Building and Housing and asked for an inspection. She claims she took that route when Karma Public Housing and the management company JBS Realty allegedly failed to act. But she believes her actions led to retaliation and her eviction.
Not a day later, I received a 3-day notice.
Abernathy tells me she has no idea where she'll live now and admits she used foul language out of frustration.
I don't know why they showed the grease there on the stove. That came from her. That was grease.
She said that cost her the Section 8 voucher that covered her rent. Cleveland Councilman Joe Jones tells me he's appalled.
She should not be kicked out on the street just because she did not want to live in these types of conditions. My heart bled out in the fact of thinking, this is how we treat people?
The building was cited for 9 violations by the city of Cleveland, but Abernathy and Councilman Jones questioned how it passed an inspection in the first place.
We've already cited this property, and I'm going to ask for them to their permit, their occupancy permit to be pulled.
Now the
failed 9 inspections and they were still allowed to rent it out.
property manager with JBS Realty declined an on-camera interview, but he called Abernathy uncooperative, saying she failed to let plumbers and electricians into the homes. She tells me that's not true. When I asked how this place even passed an inspection, he just credited the inspector, saying he's the best around. Reporting live in Cleveland, Michelle Nix, 19 News.
What does the best inspector around even mean? Okay, the next one is, because this is a problem that's going on all across the country. Retailers scramble to find solutions to reported rise in organized theft. Pretty much it's smash and grabs going on everywhere, from the Nike factory to the Amazon factory to the liquor stores to clothing stores, everything. These folks is out here wilding.
You've seen the videos of brazen smash and grabs like these, often carried out in broad daylight.
It's an absolute threat.
An Orange County jewelry store was hit by several suspects, seen in this video from the Irvine Police Department. They smashed glass displays with hammers and took nearly $900,000 in merchandise. And in Los Angeles,
I just want to know how these niggas don't cut themselves. A lot of glass, and they is glass is flying from them smash, and then they reaching in, snatching shit. How they not getting cut and leaving DNA all over the scene?
a group of up to 30 suspects ripped apart a Nordstrom store, stealing between $60,000 and $100,000 of goods. Last week, the CEO of Nordstrom said the company's losses from theft are at historical highs. Retailers like Macy's and Dick's Sporting Goods joined Nordstrom in blaming theft and inventory loss for falling short of their projected sales figures. Federal authorities and retailers are now sounding the alarm about the growing danger of organized retail crime that authorities say is sweeping the country.
They know exactly what stores to hit, what businesses and residents to hit, when and where.
Coordinated groups are targeting stores, millions of dollars worth of goods. Retailers say they're growing more violent, putting shoppers and workers at risk, sometimes with tragic consequences.
What goes through your mind when you realize that your dad was essentially killed over 3 power washers?
You can't imagine that any piece of equipment in Home Depot is worth a life.
When you saw the video of what happened to your dad, what was going through your mind?
Wish it would have been me.
Authorities say organized
So his dad was, I guess, the receipt checker. And he was an older guy, and he tried to check the receipt. He got stiff-armed, and he fell, and he died. I don't know if he hit his head or whatever. He got stiff-armed, died. Over 3 power washers. Whoever stole them 3 power washers, hopefully they tell if he got caught or not. But this nigga took a life unintentionally over some power washers. Got to do life in jail over power washers. Probably $3,000 if they the good ones. $1,000 a piece.
Retail crime is large-scale theft of mostly high-value items, from handbags to power tools, which are often then illegally resold online on sites like Amazon, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or Craigslist. Amazon, eBay, and Facebook prohibit the sale of stolen goods on their sites, and have said that they take measures to help ensure that.
They're very much organized in the sense that they're doing it for the profit. Obviously, the profitability is the key here.
Companies say this type of crime is reaching unprecedented levels, jumping more than 26% in 2021 and forcing the average family to pay an estimated $500 more each year on goods.
It's growing double-digit year over year.
This is professional shoplifting.
100%.
Big box stores like the Home Depot have been hit especially hard. They tell us they're investigating hundreds of cases this past year alone and losing billions. The retail giant opening up to ABC News, showing us exactly what's being targeted.
You have a special name for this part of the store.
Yeah, this is what we refer to our billion-dollar aisles, billions and billions of dollars worth of sales in this product. And then about a third of our losses from a theft and fraud perspective come from, power tools, particularly.
Thieves are taking anything from leaf blowers to metal wire.
And how much is a spool like that worth?
A full spool could range anywhere from $1,000 to upward of about $3,500.
In April, 3 people were arrested in connection with an organized retail crime operation that allegedly targeted California Home Depots. Authorities recovering $75,000 worth of stolen goods.
Why do you believe that you've seen such an uptick?
About 90% of our organized retail crime cases involve some type of online selling platform. Opioids and fentanyl continuing to drive the need for fast cash.
Just a few weeks ago, authorities in Pinellas County, Florida, arrested former pastor Robert Dell for allegedly running a multi-million-dollar theft ring. Felony charges brought against Dell and his alleged co-conspirators accuse the group.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the former pastor and his co-conspirators are all white. I am glad to say they are all white. Damn ex-pastor. What would Jesus do, pastor? You out here stealing?
Operating across at least 3 counties in the Tampa area, targeting Home Depots and then selling those stolen goods on eBay. Authorities confiscated thousands of dollars worth of merchandise from the home during the arrest in mid-August. In some cases, employees fight back. This family-owned jewelry store in Huntington Beach, California says they were targeted by thieves last year.
It's our family business. We wanted to protect it, protecting what's ours.
But many larger retailers do not want their employees to intervene. Lululemon recently fired 2 employees for chasing alleged robbers, as seen in this video.
Get out! Get out!
The company saying in a statement the 2 women were fired for knowingly violating our zero tolerance policy related to physically engaging with the perpetrators, which put their lives and the safety of our guests and other employees at risk. Our people's safety is our #1 priority. Home Depot also tells its employees not to stop robberies in progress, warning of the dangers.
It seems almost like a catch-22 that you want to keep your employees safe, but at the end of the day, these criminals probably know that the employees are limited in their capacity to stop it.
But the safety of our employees and our customers comes first, 100%. And what the consequences financially are the secondary consideration for us.
Still, 2 employees have been killed, allegedly by thieves at Home Depot stores.
Shots fired at the Home Depot on Johnson Drive in Pleasant Penn.
In April, 26-year-old Blake Mose was fatally shot while authorities say he was trying to stop a theft at a California store. 2 people have been charged with felonies in connection with the murder. And in October, police say 82-year-old Gary Razor, nicknamed Grandpa Gary by his Home Depot coworkers, was pushed by an assailant who was allegedly trying to steal 3 power washers at a Hillsborough, North Carolina location and later died.
He loved working at Home Depot because he was invested in the people and the customer, the workers.
Jeff Razor says he never dreamed his father's job could put him in danger.
At his funeral service, we had to have 2 of them because the entire Home Depot staff and workers, from the manager to the person that just hired in a week ago, wanted to come.
Does it surprise you that he would have tried to step in to stop a theft?
Oh, it doesn't surprise me at all. It wasn't like he was going to tackle the guy, right? He was just asking for a receipt.
In January, police arrested the 26-year-old man they say pushed Gary Razor. He is charged with robbery and first-degree murder. He is being held without bail.
I'm torn on the charges. because he clearly wasn't trying to kill him. He didn't hit him. He just pushed him. Like as he was walking with the basket. Old man walks up to him. He stiff arms him. Old guy falls like damn, first degree? He needs to be charged with murder. I don't know if first degree, that means it was premeditated or not. It's clearly an accident, but his ass needs to pay the price. Damn power washers.
You know, that's typical when somebody dies while you committing a crime. Like say for instance, because the man probably had a heart attack, but say for instance you go in to rob somebody's house or burglarize it, and you end up killing that person. You killed that person during the commission of a crime. First degree murder. No matter how they died. No matter how.
That nigga is 26. Yeah, do the rest of his life over some power washing.
Yep.
Now he could have got away with the robbery. Well, he wouldn't have got away with the robbery, but his time wouldn't have been as fucked up had he just got caught for robbery. And if the accident, because it was an accident, but had he not killed dude, the robbery charge wouldn't have been that much. Because actually, I think robbery is kind of overreaching it too, because he didn't have any weapons. He just put some shit in the basket and pushed it out the door. It's theft, property, 5,000, whatever, however they want to charge with robbery. He's overcharged and everything. But his ass shouldn't have did the shit in the first place. That's just what happens.
What was taken from you?
Time. You know, all we have is time. That time that we had planned to spend with my dad, now that's just not going to be. So, time.
Home Depot says Gary's story is driving urgency to stop the problem, but they acknowledge they can't do it alone.
There are certain parts of certain states that have taken it very seriously, but there's other pockets of the country where this problem still is not taken seriously day in and day out.
Do you believe that there should be tougher penalties for those who are behind these crimes?
Absolutely.
With losses growing, the retail industry,
man, they probably charged him like that so his bail would be high anyway. And they just like, well, fuck it, you're going to have to argue your bail reduction at arraignment and shit like that. They probably just wanted to make it high enough to make sure he didn't get out in the first place.
and law enforcement are looking for solutions. Congress already passed the INFORM Act, which requires online marketplaces to collect and disclose more information on the goods they sell. But retailers want them to do more, and pass the Combating Organized Retail Crime Act, creating coordinated multi-agency response to retail theft.
These bills will help to establish a center for
They got the lobbyists to get these bills passed.
organized retail crime under the Department of Homeland Security to share information and to work investigatively to detect, disrupt, and dismantle these organized groups.
Home Depot says it has had no choice but to lock up some of its most valued items, a move they say is frustrating but necessary. Is it common that we would see these things behind bars?
You know, in a perfect world, this is not what we'd want to be doing. We'd want to be completely open to our customers. But unfortunately, this is the product that is targeted most frequently.
The company is also working to make more of its products trackable, adding monitors as a deterrent, alarmed gates to prevent carts from leaving, and installing more cameras to keep track of shoppers. But for Gary Razor's family, nothing can undo the loss. His death, a warning that these crimes are destroying lives.
We shared this video on my community walls. If they show the video of the old man being pushed down, share that.
What do you want people to hear about your father's story?
I would like very much for people to understand that my dad would want, right, people to focus on this and say, we've finally gone too far.
Hi, everyone.
I wouldn't say it's politically funded. I would say that retailers who are tired of, they feel like they ain't got no teeth against these damn criminals, are trying to get the government to help them, and they spending money on lobbyists to get laws passed to help them. It wasn't a politician that came up with this. It was the owner of these corporations. Was it Nordstrom, Home Depot, and I forgot the third one. They said damn it, Home Depot, Nordstrom, and something.
Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage.
Next one is caught on camera. Small town police chief goes on tirade.
Coffee City, Texas, a small town of about 250 people and 50 police officers on the force.
Our investigative team dug through records.
Wait a minute. That's confusing already. The town got 250 people living in it. 250. And 50 of the 250 are police officers. Why? It cannot be that much damn crime going on. And you just gotta imagine out of the 250, one family got to have like 20 or 30 people in it. 50 cops. Some Texas shit.
Coffee City, Texas, a small town of about 250 people and 50 police officers on the force.
Our investigative team dug through records and found half of those officers had been suspended, demoted, or fired for previous jobs, some even criminally charged.
Jeremy Rogowski discovered the man who hired them can have a short fuse when dealing with others who wear the badge here in Harris County.
Coffee City's police chief routinely works an extra job 200 miles away at this Houston apartment complex. And on this day, watch how John J. Portillo behaves.
I'm about to call Garcia and tell him he's going to be
It's an expletive-filled rant launched at the elected constable of Harris County Precinct 2, Jerry Garcia.
I'll call Garcia right now.
Portillo wanted Precinct 2 to file charges on a man he says assaulted him at the complex. It was just one of many requests the constable says kept coming in from off-duty Coffee City cops.
Which at first was, no big deal. We help anybody and everybody. But then we noticed that it was becoming a pattern.
That pattern, the constable says, was draining resources. So Garcia reached out to the Harris County District Attorney's Office.
And we were advised to tell Chief Portillo that he had to file the charges.
But when deputies did just that, Portillo left a nasty voicemail.
And the captains and lieutenants of whoever those numbnuts are that you have working for you, tell them your guys not help us out.
It saddened me. It upset me to hear that. This isn't something small. This is pretty upsetting.
What upset the constable even more, the response his agency got back after alerting Coffee City's mayor. I don't see very much there that warrants any disciplinary action from the city, the mayor wrote. The officers are contracted by the property for off-duty police protection. You may want to reach out to them with any complaints.
Didn't think that it merited any disciplinary action against him?
He just cussed the nigga out. He didn't threaten him. He just called him some numbnuts and was like, y'all fucking job to help us. That's where he left on the voicemail. Now, the other shit, that was captured on some type of other camera when he said he was going to call Garcia. That was a private conversation. That don't count. But even the voicemail, damn, what they gonna suspend him for being unprofessional? What's the punishment for that? Cussing somebody out. Because they get to cuss citizens out when they pulling them over. They get to be aggressive and say, get the fuck out the car and all of that stuff. And it's not a problem. So you can't talk to other police officers like that. Is that what the issue is? This is bullshit. This is a non-story. The story here is it's a town of 250 people with 50 fucking police officers on the force. Why? Who is committing all these crimes in this town of 250 people? I'm sure they got more police officers than they have teachers in the whole elementary, middle, and high school. This is
It's crazy.
Greg Freeman is a Sam Houston State criminal justice professor and retired Houston police captain.
Basically, you're enabling bad behavior now. And that's exactly what the mayor has done.
So what does Chief Portillo have to say for himself?
Well, I was amped up. And I apologized to my city council, city council.
Did you apologize to Constable Garcia?
No, I haven't had a chance. I haven't talked to him.
The cussing incident happened 6 months
This is the Mexican fight. Nobody cares.
ago. Is that the real John J. Portillo that people are seeing in this video?
No, I don't just go off the handle.
Well, you did hear.
Yeah, because I got socked in the face. I was mad. I was red, and I was upset because they wouldn't, help me file the charges.
It's not the only example we found that calls into question Portillo's character and integrity. In his application to become Coffee City's chief, he never listed this, a DWI charge out of Florida in which he failed to appear in court. Why wouldn't you disclose that, Chief?
Didn't disclose. It was over 10 years ago.
You had an active warrant.
Huh? That was disposed of.
No, it wasn't. Court records show the day after our interview, Portillo hired a Florida defense attorney who filed a not guilty plea in the case. From the looks of it, you weren't being truthful on the application to which you hold the job this day.
Whose job was it to
Yeah,
look
I
it up?
understand. I mean, but that's not what it is. I'm not being truthful.
One of the 250
You
people.
forgot?
I put down everything that was in my mind when I filled out my application to the best of my knowledge.
Well, that same job application states there are criminal consequences for lying on a government document.
Okay, so there's more to this investigation tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow we reveal how some Coffee City officers were working full-time right here in Harris County and how the chief suspended that division after we started asking questions.
We'll see that tomorrow night. Thank you, Jeremy.
See you then.
Very interesting. If it was a script,
Next, we got cop accused of stealing debit card on the job. Had the victims track the LAPD officer down.
a drama like Law and Order, you might say this could never happen, but this is real life. Meet Lena Ritz. She did what the LAPD wouldn't do. That is until they saw the evidence she gathered. And wait until you hear who the suspect is.
I was fired up because I don't like injustice.
Lena Ritz's troubles.
I'm sorry, y'all. Have y'all seen that video floating around of the girl that supposed to got hit in the face with a brick? I don't know.
Yeah, why you not covering that?
Cause I have a twig sister, a twisted, sick sense of humor. Cause when I had first seen E. Brooks sent it to me, she was like, "Oh, it's sad, it's fucked up." And the first thing that came to my, I laughed for like 10 minutes straight when I actually saw the picture of her. It was the knot the knot made me laugh. I'm sorry. It was funny as hell.
It's not funny, Trey. It's not.
You guys, why you keep saying it's not?
It's not funny.
The knot is why I was laughing.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Oh, that was I don't know. That gender had a mind of its own. No, I was like, it's fucked up. But now I had to ask. I was like, I want to know the whole story. Like, did she get smart with dude? Because she was saying that he asked for a number.
If she didn't put her hands on
it do. You could call a nigga a bitch ass nigga, like fuck you, bitch ass nigga, and you're like, damn, I just asked for your number. That's disrespectful. That's why it do matter. That's why you shouldn't talk to everybody like that, because everybody ain't raised the same. Some people gonna do shit like that. A simple no thank you or keep walking is sufficient. Even though keep walking is rude, but still that's better than a cussing out.
I don't care walking plenty of time. Cause when you do say something to a person, they some men they do get, crazy, they act crazy. I just walk off. I don't say nothing.
Oh, Tit for Tat said she lied. Well, I don't feel bad about the knock there. I don't feel bad for laughing.
She did what?
She lied.
What you mean she lied? Gave him the wrong number? It don't matter.
I don't know. We trying to see. No, maybe she lied about a dude hitting her with a brick.
Oh wow.
Maybe she got jumped.
That's
by
crazy.
some girls. Sneak at night, exposed for lying.
That knot was real.
Yeah, but it probably didn't come from no dude that turned her down for not giving the number. And she said somebody exposed her for lying though. But I know I was tickled for a good 20 minutes straight, and E. Brooks was shocked and appalled. Like, Trey, that is
I don't
fucked
know
up.
why
You
she was
laughing.
shocked and appalled. I don't even know why she was shocked and appalled.
I was shocked and appalled and I was laughing so hard. I'm still laughing now and I can't even see it. I just remember that motherfucker. Oh, somebody E. Brooks.
Ignorant, Trey. You put the E in ignorant.
E. Brooks, send me that picture so I can send me that picture.
Don't do
So
it, Trey. Don't do that lady picture up. Don't do
so
that.
that knot was funny.
Oh Lord.
Okay, let me start the story back. I don't forget what we was talking about. I'm gonna find that damn knot. Y'all got me fucked up.
If it was a scripted drama like Law and Order, you might say this could never happen. But this is real life. Meet Lena Ritz. She did what the LAPD wouldn't do. That is until they saw the evidence she gathered. And wait until you hear who the suspect is.
I was fired up because I don't like injustice.
Lena Ritz's troubles started on July 16th, although she wouldn't know the extent of them until later. On that Sunday, she went to the LAPD detention center in downtown LA to bail out a relative on an unrelated charge. A couple of days later, she was going through this phone case where she keeps her credit cards when she noticed something wrong. Her debit card was missing. She discovered someone was using her debit card to buy expensive items. She went into overdrive.
So I logged on to my online bank account and I noticed a very large transaction at a furniture store. And I thought, this is very weird.
Lena called her bank customer service representative over and over again, but she says she got no assurances that Citibank would cover her losses or even investigate. In fact, they pointed an accusatory finger at her, saying that she must have made the charges because a debit card requires a PIN. They referred her to local police. Lena says she tried reaching the LAPD a dozen times. Again, no interest in helping her.
When the detectives wouldn't do anything, I thought to myself, where do I go from here?
So Lena turned relentless investigator. She went to every store where her card was used. She tracked down receipts with dates and times. She begged, cajoled, and convinced some of the stores to give her the security video of her card being used by the suspect.
Home Depot was very helpful. They sent me clips of him using it, and I asked for it to be timestamped. There's a security team and saw him not only using my card.
Weeks had passed. Thousands of dollars had been charged to her missing card, and no break. But then Lena enlarged the suspect photo, and finally, it hit her like a ton of bricks. Remember when we told her she had to go downtown to bail out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I had just got the picture of the girl getting hit with the brick. We was just talking about the girl hit with the brick, and then the white lady on the news said it hit her like a ton of bricks.
And saw him not only using my card.
Weeks had passed. Thousands of dollars had been charged to her missing card, and no break. But then Lena enlarged the suspect photo, and finally, it hit her like a ton of bricks. Remember when we told you she had to go downtown to bail out a relative? The suspect, the guy on the store surveillance video, looked exactly like the friendly cop who handled her intake that emotional day at the detention center.
I put it together and I said, this actually looks a lot like the police officer that took my stuff through security that I met at the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Not only did Lena have photos of the suspect, Officer Edmund Bababians, she had a photo of the suspect's car and a partial plate. Suddenly, the LAPD was urgently calling her.
Gosh, I remember the moment that they confirmed that it was him. I was a mix of emotions. To be honest, a part of me felt elated, also relieved, because I thought that meant, okay, I'm getting my money back and justice is going to be served.
Well, as far as Lena's bank, Citibank emailed me today and said that they are investigating the matter. Lena says almost $2,000 was debited from her account. As of tonight, that money has not been returned yet, but she certainly got their attention, Christine and Alex.
So now at 11, former Proud Boys leader and South Florida resident Enrique Tarrio since.
This should please the truth. 22 years.
To 22 years in a federal prison.
Julia Bagg, she's in Washington, D.C. tonight, where Daniel received the longest sentence ever in connection with the January 6th Capitol attack.
22 years behind bars. That is the stiffest penalty any defendant has received in a case like this. Here in the courtroom this afternoon, Enrique Tarrio pleaded for mercy.
Beyond family, 39-year-old Enrique Tarrio had supporters in the courtroom like Suzanne Monk, who stood up when the Miami man entered.
I stand for the Proud Boys and I stand for these January 6th defendants.
Tarrio received 22 years behind bars and 3 more years of supervised release, the longest sentence for anyone convicted in the Capitol attack. Prosecutors painted him as a ringleader who directed a plot to overturn the 2020 election by force, even though he was not present the day of the attack. In court, Tarrio told the judge he was sorry, saying what happened on January 6th was a national embarrassment. And with everything inside of me, I wish what happened at the Capitol that day never happened. Still, the judge didn't seem to buy it. He really expressed remorse for, in fact, what he was convicted of. In May, a jury convicted Tarrio and fellow Proud Boys of seditious conspiracy. Judge Timothy Kelly noted news.
Some breaking news for
Next, we got here hot water. Judge Janine on divergent agreement in Hunter Biden case. Now, Hunter is something going on with him and a damn gun possession. He's supposed to be indicted, and it's just that's what's going on. Not really sure.
Hunter Biden's legal battle, special counsel David Weiss telling the judge in charge of the first son's case that he plans to indict Hunter before September 29th on that felony gun charge. It comes 6 weeks after the implosion of the original sweetheart plea deal that was meant to save the first son from press seemed to be looking the other way. Washington Post national columnist Philip Bump snapping and walking out of an interview after getting pressed on this 2018 Hunter text message.
Truth. I got a good angle.
True. Sir, can you please take that lady down? Can you please? Ooh, that is bad. That's bad. This is bad. This bad. I can't do it. Bad.
That's what dude said on Baby Kid. Pick up a brick and knock the hell out of one of them kids.
Oh my God. Take that lady down.
That look like some shit out of a sci-fi movie. She looked like one of the Goonies.
Oh, not the Goon. You know what? Frank. You still laughing? Lord have mercy, Jesus. Why?
Oh, that has been the funniest shit I've seen all year.
Not all year.
All 2023. Well, that
Hey,
and the scary grandma picture I got in that picture, that was funny too. Nah, this takes the cake.
that's fucked up. That is fucked up.
What you think she's saying right there, True?
I don't know. I don't know, Trey. I don't know what she.
Just like you said, why? Why?
Oh Lord have mercy.
I ain't even talk about how black her lips are. I'm just not mind.
Lord Jesus.
Okay, I'm gonna take her down. Okay.
Trey. Poor lady. That's sad.
That's truth. That ain't me.
You a lie.
That is you. Hit your echo cancellation. Watch this.
I'm echoing. Oh, fix it, Trey. Fix it. I'm chilling.
Yeah, see, her echo cancellation was out, and now it's gone.
What do you take from the text message to his adult daughter? Hunter text message, I had to give 50% of my income to Pop.
I have no idea what that means. I don't. I have no idea what that means.
Well, it's
I know it's circumstantial evidence, and you prefer that.
No, what could it be?
I have no idea.
But doesn't
I don't know. I appreciate your.
Has anybody asked her?
I don't know. I don't know. It's I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah,
what
but
do you want me to say?
Yeah, but you say there's no evidence, but then there's a text message where he says, "I give Pop 50% of my money." That's evidence.
Okay. Well, okay, fine.
So
evidence. Still, you want me to leave, like just walk out in the middle of this because that way you can.
You can go. Right. Is this a standard? Really, this is the way the Washington Post handles people who disagree with them.
When I agree to be on for 45 minutes, and then I get on for an hour and 15. Yeah, then after a while I go.
We're gonna get to the legal thing in a minute, but having watched that again, Greg, I have to say, I can understand walking out of an interview if you were insulted or if you were disrespected, but not because you were presented with a fact.
Not because you were getting your butt royally kicked. That was like Mike Tyson, pummeling a koala baby. But and I don't endorse that. I think the thing that was what you saw there, Noam, was amazing in that was the ultimate arrogance of an elite journalist in Philip Bump. How dare you ask me? I'm a journalist. How dare you ask me for facts? How dare you expect me to justify my lazy reporting? This guy's been on journalism welfare for years. He's been wrong on a lot of stuff, more than Homer Simpson's gotten wrong. And the Dems have fallen into this excuse. I'll use a Jesse analogy. Sure, I go to a strip club, but I don't cheat. That's how they talk about Hunter. Like, Hunter's bad, but Trump is worse. And they've been doing this for years now. The fact is, remember with Sam Harris? Do you remember what he said?
You welcome.
Remember?
He said that if Hunter literally had murdered children in his basement, he wouldn't care because Trump is worse. And so what you're seeing there is another admission of derangement that they cannot admit. Bump is so wrong. He had nowhere to go except to leave. It's quite humorous.
It also shows, Jesse, that this question really hasn't been presented outside of conservative media.
So you have to have, I guess, muscle tone if you are going to go up against someone with an opposing ideology. Like, we have Jessica, we have Harold, so we have to fight over facts. I mean, I have to go up against people that ask me about January 6th, that ask me about all of the Trump trials. I have to defend everything. These people like Bump, they don't have to do anything. And they've never even been presented with a challenge. So they get up there and it's like they're limp. It's like, you go into you spar at a gym, you've never sparred before. You can't go 5 rounds, can't even go half a round. That's what happens. He's not politically athletic enough, and he doesn't have the chops to answer the smoking gun document. That's one of the biggest smoking gun documents that we've seen from the laptop which has been authenticated by his boss at the Washington Post. This guy's supposed to be one of the top
Democrats. But these aren't Democrats. These are Republicans. Like, God damn, y'all still talking about that fucking laptop? Let it go. That's almost as bad as what the Democrats is currently saying. What you said, Trump's worse. Let it go. Like, what the fuck do y'all want to happen based off this damn laptop? The man's still gonna fucking be president. He's not going nowhere.
Journalist at the Post, and he has no idea. And honestly, he doesn't even care. Has anybody asked about it? I don't know. Well, I don't. What are you asking me for? Oh, I don't know. Because it's your job to ask the question. It gives me life. I've watched it 17 times.
Yes. Can you say how it felt?
It felt.
Don't do it.
Your counsel, is your lawyer in front, he's not going to answer.
Judge, do you want to comment on the Philip Bunn interview or the indictment that could be coming before September 29th?
Well, what I think, first of all, I got a copy of the decision from the court. It really is a status report. And they say that given the request or the attempt to guarantee a speedy trial, that anything that's going to be filed has to be filed by September 29th. And now the United States Attorney Special Counsel David Weiss apparently is indicating he will indict Hunter Biden by September 29th. So the question is, what is it going to indict him on? All indications are they're going to indict him on the gun charge. Here's a problem, all right? And this is just me talking. The possibility of indicting him on a gun charge, which I think is appropriate, took him 5 years to get to a plea agreement, and now they can indict him in 30 days. What does that tell you about the legitimacy of David Weiss and his investigation? But more important is the fact that
it's going to be his first time possession. What are they going to do? They ain't going to do no jail time still.
There is a
I take this back. If they got an agenda out there, we'll do it. We've seen it happen to Plexico Burris and shit.
Diversion agreement.
Yeah, but Arenas went to jail. Well, no, that wasn't his first time. It was his first time in Washington.
Between the United States Attorney and Hunter Biden's lawyer. I think it's Abby Lowell. And I've said before, they don't get any smarter than Abby Lowell. As a prosecutor, if I have a diversion agreement with a defendant and a defense attorney, it's between me and...
Man, what does that mean, they sold us? Don't nobody own me. What does that mean? Sold us how? To who? Who owns us? And if they own us, how come they ain't told us?
The defense attorney. If I have a plea deal, I need the court's permission. But as a diversion agreement, it's me and the defendant saying we're going to work this out. I guarantee we're going to see legal argument on whether or not, if and when that indictment comes out, that indictment can in fact supersede the diversion agreement. I'm not so sure that it can, because you don't need the court's approval to enter a diversion agreement, and they've already acted upon it, and in fact have filed with the court that indeed we have been complying with the conditions of the diversion agreement of the gun charge.
Shut alive, shut alive. Oh, got some tea for y'all. Up tea. Y'all shut alive and hit the cash app and tell y'all some tea, okay? Start me a creator page and I'm gonna become a content creator. Y'all shut alive now. Share it.
Don't get me wrong, the guy should have been indicted 5 years ago as quickly as they can do it now. But I think they're in a little bit of legal hot water here.
What happens or what changes, Harold?
So if you stop messing with these people too, you got these people on the Facebook messing with you with stuff. Leave people alone.
If there is an indictment of Hunter Biden on a gun charge?
I think an indictment on any charge is serious. First of all, I think the judge, what she just said, I think is really, really important to amplify. The diversion agreement, Abby Lowell has already indicated that that's going to be an offer of defense that he will put forward very soon. I'm assuming a public
You got more adversaries than Batman.
proceeding. It leads me to believe, Judge, that there might be something else.
Yeah.
That this could be either a new charge, a new gun charge, or some other new charges, because I don't know how you get around it. The judge explained it succinctly and compelling. I don't know how you get around that.
Yeah.
It would seem to me to be foolish to bring a set of charges you know the judge would say you can't do because you have disagreement. Now, let me just say a couple other things.
Agenda Schmenda. How are these agendas pushed? Go ahead and say TV. A whole bunch of people don't watch TVs. That's it. Oh, the conspiracy stuff don't resonate with me. It's too many variables that aren't accounted for in real life, which pretty much comes down to personal choice.
First, I've always said if President Biden, if there's two questions, if he uses official office to help his son and or receive benefit for something that his son was doing, that's a problem. And I think a lot of Democrats, Republicans, Independents alike would say so. Two, this guy Philip Bump, he behaved like a partisan politician in this interview. I'm a believer that we have to have journalists on all sides ask very, very tough questions. But when you're asked a question as a journalist that upends a theory that you may have been promoting, you can't walk out.
Junior?
A politician can walk out, but a journalist can't walk out. So it's disappointing and disturbing to see that. I know that Mr. Comer and others in the Congress are asking for, I believe Mr. Weiss and others to come before the committee and come and testify as to what happened. I hope they can show a little restraint because we are finding ourselves, I think, closer and closer to finding out exactly what's happened. And if indeed legal charges should be brought, I think the politics in it will do nothing but aggravate both sides and make it more difficult to get to the bottom of this.
I personally don't give a fuck if Hunter Biden is indicted or not. Next story. That was boring as shit. Maple Heights police. Brother kills pregnant sister, unborn baby, her husband in Labor Day shooting. Who the fuck wrote this title? They could have just said and. Yeah, let's see if we got a reason why he killed his pregnant sister and her husband.
Us at a local park on this Labor Day. Several shots fired, killing a pregnant woman, her unborn child, and her husband, who's just identified as 31-year-old Trey Carter. Police say they have that shooter behind bars. Kelly Kennedy, first to alert us from the scene earlier this evening. She's live tonight with the tragic new developments. Kelly, a heartbreaking story indeed.
Chris, it really is. Like you said, a pregnant woman, her unborn child, and her husband all shot to death. And believe it or not, the police chief tells me the shooter was her own younger brother. Now, the police chief tells me this was an ongoing family feud that had been going on for a long time, and it came to a tragic end at the park this afternoon.
Stafford Park in Maple Heights was packed with families and church groups Monday afternoon celebrating the holiday, when suddenly a 29-year-old man pulled out a gun and started shooting.
I just heard the gunshots and I turned around. I was cutting the wall. I turned around and everybody was running towards this way. And when we tried to get all the kids, I didn't panic too much, but I did panic.
Johnny Coleman was at the park with his church group.
Really, I wasn't scared, but the kids, I was more concerned about the kids.
Wait a damn minute, Mr. Johnny. Now, Mr. Johnny, I had gave you a real nigga because you was like, yeah, I ain't panicked too much, but I did panic. Then you come, but I forgot. Never mind, I'm gonna take it back because I forgot how the news edit shit up, so you could have seen it. But still, they made you look bad, Mr. Johnny. I panicked, but I didn't panic. You know, I wasn't scared, but you know, the kids were scared. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm OG.
And when we tried to get all the kids, I didn't panic too much, but I did panic.
Johnny Coleman was at the park with his church group.
Really, I wasn't scared, but the kids, I was more concerned about the kids. You know, straight bullets, you know, they ain't got no names on them.
Maple Heights Police Chief Todd Hansen tells me the chaos started at around 3:15. He says the shooter got into a fight with his sister at the park. It escalated and he pulled out a gun.
Damn.
The shooter's sister and her family came to the parking lot to try to leave when the chief says that man opened fire, shooting his 30-year-old pregnant sister to death and grazing a 13-year-old. Do you have any idea what the shooter's motive was in this?
I really don't, other than the fact that we have preliminary reports that there was a long-standing feud between the shooter and these two parties that he engaged. I think the juvenile was just hit by chance. I don't think the juvenile was targeted. He just happened to be close to the female. But yeah, I think there are some family relations.
The woman's husband, a 31-year-old man, ran from the parking lot to a nearby pavilion to try to escape the shooter. but the chief tells me he was shot and killed in the bathroom. The chief says the shooter ran out of the park towards Auburn Avenue.
I saw him. He ran across the parking lot, had on a red shirt, and I saw him. They caught him on the next street.
The chief tells me BCI is assisting them in their investigation. He also tells me that witnesses on the scene were very helpful. That's one of the reasons why police were able to arrest the suspected shooter so quickly. Now, the woman who was killed in the shooting, as well as the shooter's names, have not been released yet, but we'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Reporting, if it quacks like a duck.
The next one we got. Outrage over alleged Bay Area townhome strip club. That's what you call a home office.
If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. It's a strip club.
That's what some people in San Jose say has taken over their quiet neighborhood. And only the ABC 7 News I-team has the story tonight. Good evening, I'm Karina Nova.
And I'm Larry Beal. Thanks for joining us. Neighbors say loud parties every weekend. It's been going on for months, despite endless calls to 311, 911, code enforcement, and more. And we should warn some viewers that some of the images and the content that you are going to see could be graphic.
ABC 7 News I-team reporter Melanie Woodrow is here with the story you'll see only on 7. Melanie?
Larry and Karina, residents tell me if they didn't see this party house with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe it. The I-team got a look at what's happening Thursday through Saturday night from after midnight until the early morning hours, both outside and inside these parties. I also spoke with the person hosting them about what's going on.
Yeah, is this San Francisco or Oakland?
Exotic dancers, alcohol, and stacks of ones. Before Fresh Promotions' private party was up and running on Camille Circle in San Jose, neighbors say they heard construction during the middle of the night for months.
What they were building, I had no idea.
So we called the general manager, and he thought maybe it was them lifting weights.
Andy Benzinger is laughing because he believes he now knows what was being built. Residents provided the ABC 7 News I-team with pictures of empty exercise and dance pole boxes thrown out in a communal garbage. Once construction stopped, the music started.
It's not Mozart, it's strip club music.
Neighbors say they found video from inside the parties by clicking on a map within the Snapchat app. All of these videos public, most of them too explicit to show here.
It's literally every weekend.
Benzinger is an attorney whose relative lives on Camille Circle. He's now representing approximately 12 units.
This is an unlicensed commercial activity right in the middle of a group of townhomes. It's flabbergasting. It's unbelievable.
ABC 7 News obtained video of people coming and going from the complex during the middle of the night. At the base of the stairs, individuals wearing shirts that say security, escorting them to the party by flashlight.
It's wild for me. I don't want to live like this.
It's why this resident agreed to talk with me, but asked me not to show her face because of concerns for her safety. For months, she says she called 311, 911, and even police directly.
When you're calling, what are you telling the 911 call operator?
I'm telling them that there is a strip club at this particular unit.
And what is the response of the 911 call operator when you say there's a strip club going on at this unit?
Basically, they take the call and they tell me that they will deal with it.
But she says despite her efforts, every weekend the parties continue.
Did police come out for each of those calls?
I have no idea.
The I-team asked San Jose police to look up several case numbers provided to us by the resident. A spokesperson said,
Now, she said she has no idea. Typically, when you call the police and make a noise complaint or something, they come check with you, the person that called. So if they ain't come to check with you, then no, they didn't send anyone else. Just want to call it, take your complaint, let you know that your complaint is being taken seriously. Sometimes they ask you, what you want us to do? You want to tell them to cut the music down? How can we resolve this?
they were either noise or music complaints. I asked further about 3 calls to 911 in one weekend, one on August 18th at 4:42 a.m. A spokesperson told the I-team police did not respond to that 911 call because the supervisor requested the information be turned over to the Bureau of Investigations for follow-up. Police said another call on August 19th at 4:58 a.m. was solely a music complaint, and there was no police response. In a final call to 911 on August 20th at 4:08 a.m., San Jose police said communications personnel called the reporting party back for an update on the noise disturbance prior to dispatching officers. When unable to reach the caller for a status update, the call was canceled. In a follow-up email to ABC 7 News, a spokesperson referred to the...
So as I said, didn't nobody show up at her door to be like, you called. Yeah, they didn't take her shit seriously. In all 3 cases, they said they didn't take their black asses over there to the place of white asses.
Noise disturbance as a low priority call.
There isn't the sense of urgency that I think this kind of a situation is entitled to.
A San Jose police spokesperson told the I-Team public information officers and other department personnel were not available for interviews. By email, the spokesperson told the I-Team SJPD was first made aware of the allegations in early August and that an investigation into what they call the illegal business is open and ongoing. But the person hosting the parties told me he's not doing anything illegal. I called the number listed on the invitations and spoke with someone for 22 minutes who identified himself as Fresh. He told me the private parties are for friends and family and that his mom, who lived in the townhome, recently passed away. He denied charging money to get in or for bottle service and told ABC 7 News that $200 for bottles referred to tokens, not dollars. He said the exotic dancers are entertainers, family, and friends, not employees. He called these security guards his brothers who work a graveyard shift at clubs, and that if they're outside, it's because they're smoking.
If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. It's a strip club.
In addition to SJPD, residents filed complaints with other agencies. San Jose's code enforcement deputy director told the I-Team code enforcement has opened a case to investigate any potential zoning, building, or municipal code violations within its purview. Also, that it is coordinating with SJPD on the issues at the townhome.
Then coordinate. Take care of this problem now before it gets worse.
The Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control told the I-Team it could not confirm or deny if it's investigating, but reiterated that it looks into every complaint received. Also, that the sale of alcoholic beverages in California without an appropriate license is a misdemeanor violation of the Business and Professions Code. An attorney for the Homeowners Association told me he had no comment. Enforcement aside, a person who told me she's been helping the landlord said an eviction process is underway, but also takes time. Texting me, quote, "We are doing everything we can to get these people out ASAP while we are waiting for the court clerk to process the paperwork." An effort the party's host may be aware of. When I shared neighbors' concerns, he apologized and offered to keep the music down. He also said he expects to leave within the next 20 days. Thursday afternoon, a sheriff's deputy walked up the stairs and placed an eviction notice on the window, giving the people inside until September 6th to leave or be forced out. In the meantime, people who live here are at their wits' end.
I really feel traumatized by it. This is not safe. It's dangerous.
It only takes one time for things to go terribly wrong here.
So whoever is inside has until next Wednesday to leave the
This is a story. It's an hour. It's about the guy that escaped the prison, which if you see the video, it is amazing how flexible this nigga was climbing up the damn wall to get out. But earlier, he went in somebody's house who just so happened to have a rifle leaning against the wall in the garage, and he went in there, and the homeowner shot at him, but he now has a weapon, but they said it, and they still haven't found this man. Like, how in the fuck is he get that? When I was seeing all the surveillance footage and stuff, it looked like they had the National Guard out there looking for that nigga. And this is right after, like, in a perimeter of where the house was, where they got the gun from, and he was shot at. They still ain't caught this nigga. But they squeezing his sister now. They says his sister is arrested and she faces possible deportation. Now, the strange thing about this guy is he's in jail for murder because he stabbed his girlfriend because she was going to tell that he killed somebody in Brazil. He shouldn't even be here. That's sometimes I wish that instead of us trying to levy our punishment on them, they would just send him back because he done killed somebody in Brazil. I'm sure he's wanted for murder there. Let them deal with him. Now he done escaped. He done put more people's lives in danger. He should have not even been here. He got arrested and y'all found out the reason that he killed his girlfriend. You should have let Brazil handle him. Now we're here.
With me right now. Mark, thank you for taking the time out to talk with me tonight. I watched your Twitter last night as we broke all this news on this program of what he was up to in these late night hours, stealing the gun, making a break for it, the shots fired from the homeowner. How are you getting all of this information, and do you have any more tonight?
Glad to be with you tonight. So, like a lot of the people that are watching, I have a vested interest, just like many others. I have friends that are there working, that are searching, that have been telling me their tale, what they're going through emotionally, mentally, physically. So I've kind of just been an outlet for some of the people I used to work with that are still in law enforcement working. So when that happens, they kind of just give you a little information here and there, nothing that would jeopardize, any investigations, but enough to say this is what is going on. And I think maybe the public should know this, but there's just no time for them to go through proper channels to get it out. So that's why I've just been fortunate enough to, have people I worked with in the past there on the ground right now.
Did they tell you anything new that's happened in the last little bit? Like, we just got this new breaking information, that there's been this brand new sighting tonight. And then, before you, John Muffler was able to find out this bit of information that the rifle is sawed off and that it's crudely fashioned with duct tape with the flashlight on the top. Have your contacts out in the field told you anything new?
So they're out in the field. They probably wouldn't have that information at this moment because the people that I've been in contact with are out searching. They're in the fields. They're in the woods. I won't say too much more what they're doing, but they expected this. This is, like John said, this is where a pattern has been formed by the suspects. They're anticipating this and probably anticipating some more activity overnight.
Mark, one of the other things that was on your Twitter feed, it stood out like a beacon to me. You tweeted out that Danilo Cavalcante's sister, the one who has been now picked up by ICE, the one who the authorities said wasn't being helpful, so off she went as an illegal. She was a housekeeper. You mentioned that she was a housekeeper for many of the homes in this area where he's breaking in. Do we know if she provided him with information about which homes were vacant that she'd cleaned and which homes might have had the kinds of supplies or weapons that he needed?
Now, that was a question that a few people reached out to me in that area, just saw my Twitter, and said that she was their housekeeper, their neighbor's housekeeper, that they were concerned, and I believe they have their own Facebook grouping that are talking about it. I don't know the name of it, but they were concerned that if she's been in their homes, that she would have passed this information on to maybe her brother, so he would know, okay, I can go to this house and find this there. That was their concern. I did pass that along to somebody in law enforcement. At this point, it doesn't seem like they're overly concerned about that detail. But like you said, she was somebody they were watching. They knew who she was. They knew that there was an attempt with her and her brother to aid him in the beginning. And then I guess once they realized, they took her into custody and realized she wasn't going to be any help to them, that's when they decided to move forward and start to deport her.
Okay, one last question about that sister. Did you learn that she was able to get through the perimeter early in the escape and that they put surveillance on her?
She attempted to. They let her go, and a surveillance team, from what I was told, was put on her early. And it just kind of lines up with everything that has happened. So obviously they watched her, I'm sure, as John would know more, the federal marshals probably watched her for a period of time, interviewed her, see what, work she would do with them or wouldn't do. And obviously they felt this wasn't a person that was going to be helpful to them in any way. And that's why they took her into custody.
It's astounding information that she was a housekeeper in this area, that she had broken.
This next story is the reason why I be telling truth all the time. I ain't breaking up no damn fight. Nope. I'm leaving. I'm doing like the old man did in the Chicago restaurant. I'm getting the fuck up out of there. This one, 27-year-old mom murdered outside Detroit, Coney Island after breaking up a fight.
Well, we know the family's absolutely devastated, but they have so many questions, too, in terms of the investigation. Police are still trying to piece a lot of things together themselves, but the family has questions relating to how can something like this happen when their daughter tried to do the right thing.
She led with her heart. She would give you the shirt off of her back. She was always helping people.
LaDonna Kim says that's exactly what her daughter was doing when her life was stolen from her over the Labor Day weekend. Family members say 27-year-old Donna Wilbur was gunned down at Hollywood, Coney Island on Detroit's west side early Sunday morning, not long after she tried to break up a fight.
We have to even tell her, like, you can't pull over in your car when you're by yourself because you see somebody on the road and they need help because it's dangerous out there. But she was kind of like the type of person that would have to, like, try or see for herself.
It started with Donna and her girlfriends having a fun night out. They went to the Coney Island for a bite to eat when an argument developed between two men and a woman, according to sources.
She just wanted everybody to go home and get home. And I'm very... sure, and my thoughts are knowing that she wanted to get home. I guess the guy followed her out and she was able to get herself out of the restaurant and she was shot in the parking lot.
Although we couldn't actually touch her when we went to go view her based upon the circumstance, she even had a smile on her face as we had to observe her in her last state.
She was doing the right thing, and that's what angers me.
Detroit activist Pastor Mo works with many community groups teaching de-escalation techniques to quash beefs before they ever can turn violent. He offered this advice for safe conflict resolution.
Make sure you're in a lighted area. Read body language. Look and see if they're reaching. Look and see if there's anything poking out their waist. Look at their type of demeanor. This is the kind of person that they would have a weapon. If this is a working class person who maybe got on work clothes, you might can reason with them. There's somebody with a hoodie on. I'm not trying to judge it.
That's profiling. That's not a de-escalation tactic. That's profiling.
But there's somebody who like they can be dangerous, menacing, or just don't care. Be careful how you approach somebody who could be having a mental breakdown.
Meantime, Donna's family is determined to make sure her legacy lives on.
I just want whoever did this to know they took away such a bright light that shined on so many different people. Everybody that she ever talked to will remember her because it's just her great shine. Just her personality was amazing and she was amazing.
And no known arrest.
Man transfers ownership of parents' home behind their back. Ain't shit.
Factor uncensored, an elderly couple in Fresno, California says they feel defeated after being evicted from their own home. And who did it? Their own son is a reason, according to them, why they have been put out. Ismael and Rosalita Martinez have been living in this home since 2003, you see there. They say their son transferred the ownership to someone else without their knowledge. They received an eviction notice out of the blue after paying for the home for 20 years. Attorney Lenise Lewis joins us now to shed more light on this heartbreaking issue. Lenise, this is such a sad situation that many aging parents go through around the country. This is not the first time it has happened, and it won't be the last. And of course, the Ramirezes are trying to figure out exactly where did they go wrong. But clearly, you and I and anybody can see where they went wrong in the beginning.
Absolutely, Isaiah. The first thing they did wrong was not having their names put on any of these title documents for this property. I mean, whenever we're transferring or conveying property, you always want to make sure that you are listed as the grantee or the buyer on these documents, because that is the proof that you're going to have of ownership.
And it's not that hard if it's not in your name, even though you paid the mortgage for the last 20 years. It still doesn't matter if you're not on the documentation there.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. So you are going to need to be listed on the deeds. The deeds are how we know who owns property, right?
So the parents weren't listed on the deed?
Without a deed, I could easily be paying the mortgage of a relative for years or have a relative pay my mortgage. That would not necessarily mean that I intend to convey that property to them or that they intend to convey it to me. And because real property rights are so precious, courts are going to be really reluctant and very limited in any type of remedies that they can give to people to try to right wrongs, especially where there's no record of ownership.
And of course, and you're saying if you take this into court, even though they have proof they paid the mortgage for the last 20 years, that it was their understanding that they were the owners of the house, it doesn't matter because their name is not on that deed.
That's absolutely correct, Isaiah. And that may be the reason that, I'm pretty sure that's the reason that all of these attorneys have to.
This nigga really hated his parents to do that.
Running away, because once you hear that, you know that you're just basically selling someone a dream to make them think that a court can order anyone to convey property to them that they never owned outright.
Obviously, many parents out there trust their children, but there are some badass apples in the bunch. I'm telling you, your own children, you cannot.
Sir, you cannot say that on morning television. He just said, fuck it. That dude be popping up on my timeline a lot. He from a Houston dude, and apparently Houston do a lot of damn California stories. He got his own little segment where the deep voice says, "It's just a lot of bad apples."
Obviously, many parents out there trust their children, but there are some badass apples in the bunch.
I'm telling you,
your own children you cannot trust, especially when you become an aging parent.
Kill you.
Yeah, and something that's so crazy is that I had a pretty interesting case like this years ago, but it was actually a daughter-in-law who deeded over her mother-in-law's home, and she done so forging of the mother-in-law. Now that's a big, so we can easily go to court and show that, hey, this was a forged signature. But where you just don't own it and you're trusting, like many elderly parents do, trust their children, you've got to be very careful because, as you said, there are some bad actors out there.
Now, if you are at a age where you want your affairs to be taken care of by someone else, what's another good option?
This son needs his ass whooped. I'm just saying. On the surface, I don't know if his parents could have been sexist shit. Damn. You waited 20 years to get your revenge when they old as shit? But he waited on, that nigga stewed on that shit for a long time, 2 decades. Some get y'all motherfucker. My drop. That's what he said.
I'll get you, bitch.
I don't believe this nigga.
Get on the ground.
He really wanted, he got their ass. That's fucked up. I want to know more, but see, I be too nosy. I be wanting to know like the cause of a lot of shit. And we want to know what was said, what happened to make him be like, you know what? Fuck y'all, I'm finna transfer this house because I know y'all name ain't on it. He had to do some research. This is a well thought out revenge.
Parents other than trusting their children, and obviously there's some children who are very trustworthy and they will do the right thing when it comes to their parents, but if you're not quite sure, are there any other legal remedies out there to make sure your assets are taken care of while you're still here? I mean, some kind of trust or something.
Absolutely. So I was going to suggest that you can create a trust. Of course, you would need to fund the trust, meaning you need to put the property into the trust, because without any property being in there, you just have a trust with nothing. And then you could designate an institution, a company, or someone else to be the trustee. You could execute a power of attorney if you're needing some assistance with things, and that doesn't necessarily, your child or children don't necessarily have to be the agents on there, but there are definitely legal documents that you could and should execute to show that if someone is taking action, they're doing so on your behalf.
And that's another thing parents have to be careful about when they have children that may be up to no good, signing over power of attorney, because that will give their kids so much control over.
This nigga needs to be doing voiceover work for Disney. Has he not been like a character for a supervillain or some shit?
Their assets and their even their person.
Absolutely. We have guardianships where you can have someone to be your legal guardian should you become incapacitated. But you definitely want to exercise caution and use great discretion when you are executing these forms. And if your children are offended, so be it, because at the end of the day, you want to just keep everyone honest, right? And you need to have someone in place who, one, can handle the responsibility, and two, that you can trust, regardless of the emotions or personal feelings towards you.
All right. Attorney Lanice Lewis, thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored, and thank you for your excellent advice. And we wish to remember
Lanice. New Jersey business owner used drone.
And now the details a bit.
To drop dye into nearby pools, police say. He petty as hell. Why the fuck would he do that? Hey, people is always doing some shit.
Business owner in Atlantic County facing criminal charges. Police say he used a drone to turn a number of neighborhood pools neon green. New Jersey correspondent Trish Hartman is live in Absecon with more on how police were able to track down the drone operator. This is quite the bizarre story, Trish.
Absolutely, Gray. And this is a result of a number of police departments working together. And police say the motive is unclear. The chief says he's never seen anything like this. He also says there could be more victims out there. Sandra Woolston is the general manager of the Quality Inn in Galloway Township. She noticed something strange happening at the pool back in June. She knew it wasn't algae.
And I saw it totally green, and I was like, oh wow, what is going on? So we saw a dye pack in the bottom of the pool, and we didn't know what it was.
They had the pool drained and cleaned, but she said it continued to happen about a dozen times over the course of the summer. Guests were disappointed each time, and it cost the hotel thousands of dollars.
The girls are standing here like, oh my God, we want to go swim. Some of them were crying. I was like, are you kidding me? I myself cried. I went into my office and I had a meltdown.
Meanwhile, in Absecon, police got a similar call from a homeowner in August.
We had a resident who was enjoying time in his pool and saw a drone flying over top, and the drone actually dropped something in his pool that made his pool turn green immediately.
The green stuff was sea dye, normally used by search and rescue teams, and it can be damaging to pools. On Friday, police say the drone was spotted over the Quality Inn again, and this time, with help from the FAA, the drone was tracked back to this business across the White Horse Pike. Police arrested the business owner, Patrick Spina. He's now facing multiple counts of criminal mischief. Police think they've just scratched the surface.
I would encourage anyone who has had any similar instances throughout the summer, if your pool turned a different color, to reach out to your local jurisdiction so that we can assist you in investigating these incidents.
Now, we reached out to Spina's attorney today. He had no comment, but he added that his client is cooperating with the investigation. Now, the FAA is also investigating here, and they say that drone operators who conduct unsafe operations could face fines of more than $30,000. Reporting live in Absecon, New Jersey, Trish Hartman, Channel 6, Action News. Shari?
A weird crime, to say the least. Okay, Trish, thanks.
Info used the feds to catch his ass. Okay, I think Truth already heard about this story because she commented. She said, dude, something. But the first black mayor of one Alabama town says he's locked out of City Hall. this happened, how this is even possible when he's the damn mayor. He can't just fire the motherfuckers that locked him out, but let's listen. Alabama's taking the L again.
Process in this country. You hold an election for office, a clear winner is declared, and that person assumes the position once the votes are counted and certified. But New Bern, Alabama is a bit different. They haven't held elections for years.
New Bern, Alabama.
With a position often handed down from father to son for multiple generations, until one man went against the norm. And he says it's led to him being blocked from his mayoral duties for years. Now the battle over who's really in charge is at the center of a federal lawsuit as tensions run high. Our Steve Osinsami has the tale of two mayors.
New Bern, Alabama is one of those small places in America where you'll find nearly a dozen churches to worship the Lord, but not a single grocery store. It's barely a mile long with about
Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. Did this man just say you'll find 12 churches, but not one grocery store? You mean to tell me they ain't took none of the tithe money to pastors and bought a damn grocery store? They could pool their money together and still make money because they need a grocery store, and none of them have thought of this grand idea. Oh, boy. New Bern, Alabama, ladies and gentlemen.
America where you'll find nearly a dozen churches to worship the Lord, but not a single grocery store. It's barely a mile long with about 200 people. An old cotton town where the history of slavery still lives deep in the soil. Even the cemeteries are still racially segregated. This is where white people are buried. And over here is the dirt road that takes you to a hill where the descendants of former slaves still bury their dead today.
I'm not trying to divide the town, just want to make the town better.
For the first time ever, a child of those black ancestors has become the city's mayor, hoping he can bring people together. But in a lawsuit he's filed in federal court, he says that some of his white neighbors have kept him from the job and locked him out of office. And he's seen here arguing with one of them outside the building, a city clerk who he and his black voters tried to persuade to their side but failed.
What you're doing is unjust. It is. It's absolutely unjust. It's unjust by this gentleman. It's unjust by the people of this house.
Do you feel cheated? Oh, yeah. Do you feel discriminated against?
Yes.
What is it that you want to see happen?
I want to take my rightful seat, and I want to hold each and every one of them accountable for what they did.
Did this nigga say unjust?
56-year-old Patrick Braxton was born and raised here and became the city's first black mayor in 2020 when he quietly filed the paperwork at this county courthouse to run for the position. Up until that year, no one had ever officially put in for the job.
How many years has this place gone without an election?
I think they said about 60 something.
So
So who the fuck was the mayor for? Man, what kind of hick town is this? So they just did. This nigga won because nobody else applied for the job. There was no vote or nothing. It ain't been no vote for the past 60 years. What happened to the last mayor died in a duel at sundown, sun up, or whatever the fuck it's called? I'm so confused. This can't be America. They is really doing shit like, well, we did just hear about a hick town with 250 people in it and 50 of them police. This town got 200, not shocked.
then how was the mayor decided here?
Just hand it down, hand it down.
And let me guess, what was the race of this mayor in this town? What's it always been?
White.
Yeah, every single time.
Yes.
The mayor at the time was this man, Haywood Stokes III. His father, Haywood Stokes Jr., who died 10 years ago, was the mayor before. And in a response to the federal lawsuit, he and his lawyers admit that the town of New Bern has not held an election for years prior to decide who leads their city. But they deny that there's any racism or a conspiracy here effort to keep black people out of office. He and Patrick Braxton are both volunteers at the fire station on Main Street. They've known each other for more than a decade. So it was a shock to everyone when the legal deadline had passed to run for the job, and this time a black man, Patrick Braxton, had gone through the trouble of filing the proper paperwork and was the one and only candidate. Months later, he was seen here, being sworn into office by a state judge. And like previous mayors before him, he appointed his own city council who put their hands on the Bible that same warm evening.
You know, we was very excited. We had one meeting.
You did have a meeting in City Hall?
One, yes.
Oh.
We got a chance to come in, you know, and
try to get organized.
Try to organize, but, you know, that was it.
They say it felt good. A town where 85% of the residents are black, to finally have a city council that looked more like the people they serve.
So you met the former mayor, Woody, after you were sworn.
Their city council consists of 3 damn people. 1 man, 2 women. 3.
Yes.
And there didn't appear to be any problems?
No problem.
It said, here are the keys?
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm from the
And that's
city.
it?
That's it. Walked off.
So now you have a meeting at City Hall. When did the doors get locked?
Well,
I
we
guess the
don't
next
know.
day, we don't know exactly when. I guess they knew we was there.
Can you imagine? It's a city hall. It's the town hall, and it's locked forever. It's been locked for 2 years now. Well, I feel that it's all about race.
Y'all ain't broke the locks off that motherfucker. Y'all ain't had them changed.
And I don't mind saying that. That's what it's about because I've lived here all my life.
According to their lawsuit, they're also locked out of the city's
live?
accounts at this bank on the other side of the county. Meanwhile, the black city council members say that the old city council continues to collect taxes, pay the lawn crews, and somehow conduct regular business. Do you even know who's holding the meetings?
No.
No, and they must be holding it in a private home.
You may hang up or press 1 for more options.
We tried more than once to get the former mayor's side of the story, knocking on his door when it appeared he was home. He didn't answer. In court filings, Woody III explains his position, accusing Mayor Braxton of living outside the city limits, which would disqualify Braxton from being the mayor. And it is true that Mayor Braxton has more than one home, one that he uses as his city residence that he rents, and this one where he lives with his family outside the city. Here's where it gets more complicated. Mr. Woody Stokes is arguing that he gets to hold on to the job because of a special election he claims was held in October to vote on the new city council, weeks before the black city council was sworn in, where only the old city council members qualified to run, and because of that, kept their jobs. He says his old city council put him back in charge. But in his lawsuit, Mayor Braxton says that his side didn't even know that a special election was happening, and says that if it did, it was no good, saying that it took place in secret and that no notice of a special election was ever published.
Y'all just need to go on and leave us
But there's
alone.
not a story here.
We went to the Mercantile Store, a small diner across the street from the town hall, a place that black residents say is ground zero for Mayor Braxton's opposition. We were told to leave the room.
You just need to go on and leave us alone. It's gonna be a black and white thing, and y'all know it.
If you're living and you're working here, someone can make your life living hell. It can really affect you, your family. You will be quiet.
On our walk with the mayor, the few white residents we met who support him were only comfortable telling us so off camera.
You see what I've been trying to tell you?
Yeah. Yeah. That people are afraid.
Of what?
I don't know what it is. They friends, who gonna stop speaking to them?
One small exception was the kind woman working at the town's new library who didn't really want to take a side.
Just think about that, ladies and gentlemen. The town has 200 people. It's 85% black. And they got these niggas shook. Sad, sad day.
I think it's very unfortunate for the town of New Bern to have to go through this conflict. And I'm hoping that people will listen to each other and be graceful with each other and come together as the New Bern community.
Laquina Lewis has become sort of a political activist who works with the mayor. Who's everyone afraid of around here?
You tell me. Power, the power structure.
They even got a damn political activist in this town of 200.
These are some of the frightening letters filled with racial slurs that she says she's gotten in the mail.
This is why I just can't say it's not race. I received a lot of hate mail that referenced lynchings and name calling, referenced my children. So this is personal for me, and this is serious. This isn't a game. And obviously people want it to go away.
One of the white residents who leaves.
Why not just move? Y'all don't even have a fucking store. You ain't gotta go to the city. You can go to the next small town over. But if that one is racist, and it's been racist your whole life, and the population is 200, and niggas run the city, and y'all scared to just take over, leave. That's what I'm not understand. It's 85% black. Do the numbers on that, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't that many white people there. It's probably less than 50 out of the 200.
On the restaurant, he said, you know, you guys are just going to make it about race. What do you say to that?
Look at the deck of cards. It's not necessarily about race, but we have to admit and be honest that race does play a small factor in this.
I feel so guilty. Really, I do. Because we have allowed this to happen to us for years and years. We allowed it to happen. I've never known a black man, even if it was a white man, being elected mayor here in New Bern. I've never known that. And we should have said something, done something, see if we get some help from somewhere. But we didn't. Why? And that's what I asked myself. Why?
The mayor, who according to a state court is still this man, wants the state or federal court to come to town and make things right. But if they don't, he says he's not going away and that there will be a real election when his term is up. He has big hopes to finally bring in a grocery store. It's high time, he says, for black folks in small towns like his to start claiming a little more agency over their own lives.
And then they keep showing this one damn stoplight that's constantly blinking yellow.
It has to disappoint you that it's along racial lines.
Yes. I confided, one little lady told me the town wasn't ready for a black town.
What is that?
This is New Bern, Alabama. New Bern, Alabama.
I ain't never heard of it.
It's only about two. It's only 200 people there.
Okay.
And they done locked the few white people that's in the city, they locked the niggas out. And they just cool with it. Alabama take the L. All right, last one. I don't know what the hell this is. See what this big announcement is. This press conference. South Carolina versus Alex Murdaugh.
Approach anything like this. You have a voir dire. Here.
Is it like this? Okay.
Is that good? Which way are the cameras?
Right. Okay, so.
He done snatched the papers out of the suit jacket.
Yeah.
They mumbling. Y'all
I'm gonna
lying,
read a statement.
dickhead.
Jim Griffin will have a couple words to say, and then we'll answer questions. Today, Jim Griffin and I filed a petition based on newly discovered evidence with the South Carolina Court of Appeals to stay Alec Murdaugh's appeal while a hearing is held on a motion for a new trial. Concurrently, we've sent a request to the South Carolina U.S. Attorney to open a federal investigation into the violation of Alec Murdaugh's civil rights. The allegations in the petition filed today speak for themselves, but we believe they explain a number of peculiarities in the 6-week trial. We request that SWED stand down on initiating any investigation of these allegations since they are heavily invested in maintaining Alex's convictions. We suggest they wait for the Court of Appeals to rule and receive direction from the trial court. If the Court of Appeals remands the case for an evidentiary hearing, if the Court of Appeals remands the case for an evidentiary hearing, we would also request that those in the media and the public respect the privacy of those included in this filing. Jim and I want to thank those on our team who stand behind us and have worked tirelessly to ferret out the truth. Alex Murdaugh maintained and still maintains his innocence in the murder of Maggie and Paul. And
really, Alex, you still maintain your innocence.
Lawyers.
Yeah, they're his lawyers that are filing their appeal and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, I knew that was coming. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Believe the truth will only prevail. Jim?
The right to a jury trial, is a fundamental principle of our justice system. Jurors must be free from outside influences and must decide the case solely on the evidence presented in the courtroom, subject to the rules of evidence, subject to the rules of the court, and most importantly, subject to the crucible of cross-examination that's guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution. That is the right to confront witnesses. When jurors receive private communications outside the confines of a public courtroom, the Sixth Amendment is violated and numerous other constitutional rights are violated. And that's not Jim Griffin on the law. That is the law of the land. And I want to quote from a decision from the South Carolina Court of Appeals, which is behind me, and states this: where there is a private communication of a court official to members of the jury, an occurrence which cannot be tolerated if the sanctity of the jury system is to be maintained, a new trial must be granted unless it clearly appears that the subject matter of the communication was harmless and could not have affected the verdict. What we had filed today, is supported by sworn testimony of jurors, is that the clerk of court had improper private communications with the jurors, and the subject matter.
The clerk of the court did what?
What we had filed today, is supported by sworn testimony of jurors, is that the clerk of court had improper private communications with the jurors, and the subject matter.
And the jurors swore to this? The jurors said, hey, yeah, I know the court clerk talking to us, right? We'll tell it. Oh shit, this man is finna get a new trial. Actually, they're gonna have to overturn his conviction and restart over. If this actually happened, they said they filed it and they got affidavits and sworn testimony that the jurors said, yeah.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna overturn it.
This son of a bitch always pulling a loophole out. They ain't the murder house for nothing.
The subject matter of those communications was the credibility of the defense that the Murdaugh legal defense team put up, and it was a believability of the defendant's own testimony. Now, there's been a lot of talked about whether Alex should have taken the stand. I can assure you, when we considered what factors and what we should and should not do and considered whether he should take the stand, we never considered the likelihood, as reported.
Is that Dick in the middle? I think that is Dick. Looking old. Dick is the first one that spoke, I think. Looking all old and feeble. Yeah, he spoke more at this press conference than he did at the whole damn trial.
To us by the jurors that the clerk of court would go in to the sanctity of the jury room before he testified and tell the jurors, don't be fooled by his testimony, watch out for his body language, and that is what the sworn testimony that we have filed in court today, and tell the jurors, don't be. We never considered the likelihood, as reported to us by the jurors, that the clerk of court would go in to the sanctity of the jury room before he testified and tell the jurors, don't be fooled by his testimony, watch out for his body language, and that is what the sworn testimony that we have filed.
Not the judge, a court clerk. Now, are they gonna? Is the court clerk gonna say the judge told him to do that, or is he gonna say he acted alone? Oh, this is a soap opera. Is this where they talking about the federal judges and the corruption and shit? Oh, damn it, man! Is Buster gonna become a lawyer? I need to know that question too. I damn near want to pay the $2 for the Fox Nation series.
Hell no.
If I pay the $2, we're gonna bootleg this shit. We're gonna watch. We're gonna listen to it. Because if they selling it, they gonna get me if I play it.
In court today says, and if that is true, which we have every reason to believe that it is, and no reason to believe that it's not, there's no choice but the courts to grant a new trial.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay.
Damn.
Well, I think we observed it. We did.
I think we observed it. Oh, yeah. Shut up, Dick. If y'all observed it, no, I'm not calling him a dick. I think this is his name. Dick, if you observed it, why the fuck didn't you say anything during the trial, sir? That's why the other dude told you to shut the fuck up.
Well, I think we observed it. We did. No, I was there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is Dick. The other two guys weren't there. That's why the other dude said, we weren't there. He was like, I was. But Dick, you said you think you observed it. How do you, if you thought you observed it, why didn't you say anything back then, sir?
I was there. I watched it. But, I mean, look, we were not looking to impute any nefarious conduct. But clearly what the jurors reported to us, that they were off talking, the floor lady and the clerk. I saw them together, but, I wasn't watching. I believe, look, I've been doing this almost 50 years. The bedrock of any trial, and I've done hundreds of them, is that the court.
I'm telling you, truth, Dick is doing more talking at this press conference than he did at the entire 6-week trial. How is it possible?
Hell, Dick know he used the two sheet.
Dick, if you had to put up this much fight, he probably wouldn't have got convicted.
A child. He ain't had none of this fight at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen the clerk in the 4-person. Nigga, you supposed to report that. There's nothing normal about that. The jury ain't supposed to be around people, especially not employees of the court, unless it's the damn bailiff. And he don't even get to be with them like that. He got to be outside the room. Oh, what is going on down there in South Carolina? It's corruption upon corruption upon. Truth, has the white lady that you was listening to done anything on this?
I don't know. I got to check. I hadn't seen anything. Now, I did know that they was going to file and try to get it overturned. But I got to see. I don't know if she did anything on
Dick out here stunned.
it. Pretty much.
Of court is the the person that makes sure the jury gets their food. If they're put up for the night, someplace to stay, their travel accommodations are met. They're not someone that ever should talk to them about the case. I've never had it happen. Again, I've been doing this for a very long time. Never heard of it happening until this case.
And one thing we want everyone to understand, that clerk of court is an elected official by the people, not appointed by the judge, not appointed by the judiciary. It's a public official who's elected and is an independent state actor. And so that what we're complaining about in the motion that we filed today is the conduct of an elected official, not conduct by Judge Newman or anybody in the unified court system.
Oh, so it wasn't the judge, it's the clerk. Okay.
And I think it's important also to understand that she is a state actor, and that's why we forwarded today a letter to the U.S. Attorney asking them to open an investigation into the violation of Alec Murdaugh's civil rights by a state actor under color of state law.
I believe you guys had 4 jurors that they reached out to you, or did you guys reach out to them?
Well, this is an interesting story. Let Jim tell you.
So immediately in the aftermath.
Ain't Jim the friend, truth?
Yeah, Jim is the friend. Jim should have charge. Jim at the conference.
Jim is standing next to Dick. That's what Dick just said. Oh, funny story. Dick stopped everybody first, but Dick like, well, let Jim tell you.
I don't think Jim even no lawyer no more. That's the one I'm thinking about. He got stripped.
He heavy set, bald.
Is he the one with the?
Well, not really heavy.
He got a bald head or half a bald head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ain't no lawyer no more. He got charged and he got disbarred, I think.
Well, he's standing there next to Dick like he is. He said he helped file these briefings. He must be a paralegal or something.
He probably did help, but I think that's the one that lost his law license. He was shit, they all crooked, let me tell you. Everybody crooked. Stealing money and shit, yeah.
You guys reach out to them.
Well, this is an interesting story. Let Jim tell you.
So immediately in the aftermath of the verdict, we had received information that we needed to look into what happened in the jury room. We started down that road and we met a zone of silence. No jurors would speak to us. And so we were, what I like to call, we were given the Heisman, right? And then when the clerk of court wrote her book, published her book, that zone of silence collapsed. And jurors were upset about that, the ones we talked with, and they were more than willing to come forward and tell us the things that we had sort of heard through a whisper campaign. But, and so as a result of that, we were able to interview some jurors. Now, there's still a number of jurors who maintain that zone of silence, who have not talked to us. We did try to reach out to most all of them that we could get in touch with, but the information we got, I can tell you, was independent of each juror. The first juror we talked to, we got information about Ms. Hill saying, "Don't be fooled." And then the second juror, independent of the first juror, says the same thing, and the third juror, independent of the other two, say the same thing. And so we're very confident that the information is accurate.
Well,
Jim Griffin, it says Dick Murdaugh's attorney, Dick Harpalutin, and Jim Griffin. Jim, if that's the same Jim, he got his law license back.
I'm not looking to that. I don't think so. It must not be the same man I'm thinking about.
Jim Griffin?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the same one, but I definitely remember the name Jim. That's why I asked.
Mm-hmm.
What? Ask them. I mean, we don't have any control over that. We just did receive a notice from the Court of Appeals that the Attorney General has 10 days to respond to our motion. Okay? Now, I think what's interesting to me, again, having done this for so long, is that once we had that initial contact with that first juror, we began going around. We had a list and knocking on, literally on Sundays, knocking on jurors' doors, asking them to speak with us. Some of them wouldn't come out. Some of us told us never to come back. But some did, and some talked to us. I'll give you an example. And one of the things we heard was once the jury went out, even though there were 6 smokers and they were given smoke breaks during the entire trial, once the jury went out, they were told no more smoke breaks. No, you're not. People that want nicotine, you're going to have to get a verdict first. I mean, it's that kind of stuff. Now that indicates something, and the court would be the one to communicate that. Why? So a bunch of folks told us stuff that appeared to be inconsequential, but in the total context indicated to us that what we put in this petition about the court is credible, and based on sworn testimony from 2 jurors, and we interviewed a third. My paralegal, Holly Miller, has given you an affidavit or filed an affidavit on what she told us. A lot of these folks just don't want to get involved, but they're going to be involved if we get a hearing, because each and every one of them is going to have to testify in an open court before you as to what happened and what didn't happen. Wait, one at a time. Who?
Some of the allegations that you talked about in your motion, for example, the Facebook post that shows 785 is a judge who actually said, oh boy, I'm not exterminating a juror as opposed to coming to me.
And that's a good point. There's no suggestion that the judge did anything untoward. But what that does do, if it comes back, he may end up being a witness. So, I mean, but until the Court of Appeals acts, that issue does not have to be dealt with. We don't know. We don't know that he didn't intervene. That's what I'm saying. He's a witness. We need to know.
That evidence is strong enough such that it could have changed the verdict had it been interviewed.
You know, that's not the legal test. The legal test is the subject matter prejudicial to the defense. It's not would it have made a difference in the outcome. Was the subject matter of the improper private conversation material to the defense? If it's immaterial, like what do you want to have for dinner? Do you want to take a smoke break? Do you want to go home? Those are immaterial matters. But when the subject matter is, and is reported under oath by these jurors, it was a direction on how you should receive Alec Murdaugh's testimony. You should look at him. Don't be fooled by him. That subject matter is absolutely material. That's the core of our defense. And that is something that we had no chance to defend against. And so we strongly believe if that evidence is accurate, and the law will require a new trial.
If it was all true, do you think the clerk should be criminally charged?
No comment.
Well, I can't talk about attorney-client privilege information. I can tell you that when I shared with him the affidavits, he's a lawyer. He was astonished. He was shaking. He was in disbelief, and he thanked Mr. Harpootlian, Mr. Barber, and myself for spending our weekends on dirt roads in Colleton County.
And by the way, we've seen more of Colleton County on dirt roads in
shut up, Dick.
Places we're city boys. We didn't believe existed in this state. Looking for folks that would talk to us. A lot of doors slammed in our face. A lot of doors slammed in our faces. I'm sorry? No comment. I'm sorry.
Dick said no comment. Do you think she should have a job? And he pointed at the camera. He also said no comment when they said he thinks she should be charged.
A lot of details in camera transcript. It's not something that they have.
Yes.
That's a very serious allegation.
It's all serious. Everything we've alleged, everything in those affidavits is serious. This is a very serious matter. And again,
So what you see in the sworn testimony that's been filed today is Ms. Hill told the court that there was a Facebook post by this juror's ex-husband. The ex-husband has filed an affidavit saying, I've never posted a Facebook post. Ms. Hill in her office says he must have deleted it. We can't find it. But they produced a Facebook post from someone with the same name apologizing for an earlier Facebook post and that Satan made him do it and et cetera, et cetera. And Ms. Hill related that as being this juror's ex-husband. Ms. Hill had this juror's ex-husband's photograph. You can match them up. They don't match. And what we do know, and we laid it out in detail in our brief, is that the apology Facebook post was posted, I think, on February 16th and said we had deleted it the day before, February 15th. Ms. Hill is telling Judge Newman on February 23rd that I just saw this Facebook post. Impossible. Impossible. We also have in there sworn testimony that Ms. Hill told this juror that SLED went out and confirmed with your ex-husband that he posted that. Not true, according to the sworn testimony.
And Phil Barber and I and Howie Miller from my office went down and interviewed the ex-husband, and he allowed us to, I wouldn't know how to do it, but Phil did, to download his entire Facebook history. None of that is in there. So, I mean, again, we've done what we can do. We're not the police. You know, we have no way to compel anybody to talk to us or give us anything. Ask very nicely. Now, I will say this. The two jurors that gave affidavits have an attorney, Joe McCullough, who was skulking around here a moment ago back there. So if you want to know about those two jurors, you may want to have a chat with him.
What's the motivation of the jurors?
Wait, what?
What's the motivation? Are they upset with the clerk?
I think they were upset with the way things went, and the clerk, I think they may very well, yes, they're upset with the clerk. They're upset with the way this played out.
Are they regretting their
Can't comment on that.
Facebook post? First, they posted, I've never got
No. I mean, the original post, we don't know whether it ever existed.
But the apology post, did you speak to him?
No, we did not speak. Well, as you know, having talked to the FBI before, no. They're not going to tell us anything.
In your letter to the U.S. Attorney, you mentioned
Well, having anybody but SLED investigated. SLED is very invested in this conviction. How invested? Well, the agent, David Owens, who testified under cross-examination by Jim, admitted two things. One, he perjured himself in front of the grand jury. And two, he fabricated evidence. SLED made him this year's Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. So is that the agency that ought to be going to jurors? I don't think so. I think that the court, if this is remanded back, the trial court should pick somebody else. If the FBI is not doing it, then there's sheriff's departments, there are other folks, not Colleton County, but other sheriff's departments that they could go out and interview jurors and bring them to court. I mean, all these jurors are going to end up testifying anyway. There may not be any reason to go out and interview them. May just put a subpoena on them, bring them to court. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that would happen if we get the hearing that we've requested. That's why we've requested the hearing, so that we can get subpoena power. We can get some subpoena, not just individuals come to court, jurors come to court, witnesses come to court, but subpoena records, phone records, for example, emails, for example. So with a hearing, we have a broad array of assets at our disposal to bring evidence to court. Right now, we've got nothing except Dick's Mercedes and dirt roads in Colleton County.
Dick's Mercedes.
No, we've not had any juror contradict anything. What the
they got 3 more days. This was 7 days ago.
Jim, what you?
They got 3 more days for the Attorney General to respond to one-day motions. I'm looking down. I don't see any response or update to this.
In our
press
in
conference
some of the
7
affidavits
days ago.
The jurors were separated in 2 rooms and sort of broke up from, guys in one room, Gals in another room.
Okay, wait, no, I take it back. I see something a day ago. It doesn't look good.
The state versus Richard.
Lawyer for Alex Murdaugh. Juror speaks on juror tampering allegations.
Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder, SC code 16-3-0010.
That's the clerk.
CDR
I'm assuming
code
reading.
0116. Guilty. Verdict.
Becky Hill, the clerk of court in Alec Murdaugh's double murder trial, under fire by his lawyers for allegedly tampering with the jury.
Jurors must be free from outside influence.
Intimately involved in the Murdaugh case about his clients. Thanks for joining us here on Law and Crime. I'm Anjanette Murdaugh's double murder trial. The jury, after hearing 6 weeks of testimony, reached guilty verdicts in about 3 hours. Murdaugh's lawyers claim a couple of jurors told them that Becky Hill discussed Murdaugh's guilt with them and that she had several private conversations with the forewoman. Attorney Joe McCullough is representing 2 of the jurors, one who was dismissed right before closing arguments. She was dubbed Egg Lady because she asked that she be allowed to return to the jury room to retrieve a dozen eggs.
After watching this trial for 6 weeks, I believe that there would be a hung jury. The jury would not be able to reach the So, as today, nothing about this case has failed to surprise me. I've been at this almost 50 years. I've seen involved in cases where there were allegations of this type. I mean, it's not a unique thing to South Carolina. It's not a unique thing to the Murdaugh family.
Now attorney Eric Bland, who has been outspoken in his belief that Alec Murdaugh killed his wife Maggie and son Paul, is representing 2 other jurors after offering legal representation on his Twitter account. He also represented victims of Murdaugh's financial crimes and advised the prosecution during the trial. I asked Eric Bland about how he can represent so many people related to this case in so many different ways without creating a conflict of interest. How did this come about? Was it because you put your tweet out that they reached out to you?
A little bit, but I've been victim oriented throughout this whole ordeal for the last 2 years, pro victim and pro prosecution. And I had no problem with Harpootlian's motion that they made, Murdaugh's motion for a new trial. I had no problem with them going and speaking with jurors if jurors wanted to talk to them. That's done all the time. I did take umbrage with how he handled the press conference and what he said, because I don't think it comported with our pretrial publicity rules that we have with the rules of professional conduct, with some of the things that he said. It was designed to really sway and move the public. It wasn't in response to anything that the Attorney General had filed or said. And it was meant to be explosive, which is exactly what he accomplished. What I didn't like is the threats that he put in his press conference. One against Judge Newman, saying he was going to be a witness, wouldn't be able to hear the motion if it was remanded by the state appellate court. You know that once you file an appeal, the jurisdiction of the lower court is over, and then it's in the appellate court. Now he's asking the appellate court to stay the appeal and permit the lower court to do an inquiry into these jury issues. So, one, I don't like when jurors make a decision and are individually polled and then say that the verdict was the product of their own free will. It was a just verdict and there was no coercion. And each individual juror at that case was polled. I don't like it 3 months later where somebody can come back and start to change jurors' minds. That's a dangerous thing for our system. But the most important reason why I got involved was because Dick said that the jurors needed to lawyer up. And it was an extraordinary thing for a lawyer to say. Why would jurors need a lawyer? And so that was really the genesis of why I made that offer.
Bland won't say whether or not the 2 jurors he's representing are men or women, or whether he's representing the forewoman. That is a key question, because Murdaugh's motion alleges the forewoman and Becky Hill had several private conversations throughout the course of the trial.
They want to keep their identity confidential until they get in front of the public. But I can tell you this, Anjanette, that I believe when they go under oath, they are going to not support the allegations that Dick Harpootlian raised in his motion and in his press conference. I can't reveal the attorney-client privilege of what they told me, but I'm confident that it's going to be a different story.
What story those jurors will tell when and if a hearing is ordered remains a mystery.
It is a very serious allegation. Do not get me wrong. As I said in our first press release, the system has to work for the worst of us so it can work for the rest of us. And Alex is certainly the worst of us that we know of. And it needs to work for him. He needed a fair, impartial jury who deliberated without pressure. No question about it. That is beyond dispute. But what if the jurors say, none of the jurors, I haven't heard any jurors say that they were coerced. I haven't heard any jurors say that what they heard, if they heard anything from Miss Becky, that it swayed them to change their vote or factored in any matter in their vote.
They weren't, so she wasn't supposed to be talking to them, period, sir. That's it. She wasn't supposed to have contact with the juror. That's tampering.
Now, Jim Griffin says again, and he may be right, if she injected herself, that could be grounds for a new trial, because it is true that the directives must come from Judge Newman. Becky has the right to coordinate and facilitate, but she can't instruct.
Typically, only bailiffs have contact with jurors. Alec Murdaugh's attorneys are asking the appeals court to stay his appeal in the hope that the case will be sent back to the trial court for a hearing on the jury tampering allegations. But there are questions about how that would unfold. Would Judge Newman still preside over the case? Murdaugh lawyer Dick Harpootlian doesn't think so.
There's no suggestion.
He shouldn't have been over the case anyway when he was over his financial crimes case.
Facts. I never understood that. I never understood that one.
This town is a whole shit show.
Pretty much.
The judge did anything untoward. But what that does do is it comes back, he may end up being a witness.
Newman also granted an interview to the Today Show about the Murdaugh case. Murdaugh's lawyers say Becky Hill sought to profit off the trial by writing a tell-all book.
So immediately in the aftermath of the verdict, we had received information that we needed to look into what happened in the jury.
We already heard that from the press conference. That's all I got on the news. You know, tomorrow I'm gonna be on my flip shit tomorrow. Be prepared. We're gonna laugh though, but it's gonna be a real flip flop as a YouTube episode. Starring my three favorite arch nemesis, who really aren't arch nemesis. They suck. That's it, y'all. Any last words, Truth?
Murdaugh is guilty. Guilty. Period.
I'm waiting to see what they're gonna do with Millie. Why is it taking him so long for Millie new trial to start back since they said they're retrying?
They're gonna he's gonna get another trial. He's gonna be found guilty again. They just wasting money. That's all.
They're gonna have to move that motherfucker out that little small ass town.
I felt like it should have been moved out in the first place. You know, they had a lot of
influence.
They had a lot of influence, but then they had a lot of enemies too, Trey. They I mean, even though they paid a lot of people to do certain shit, but they had a lot of enemies too.
These jurors may have been paid allegedly.
I don't know,
by Dick and them to change their story, but that Eric Bland guy, he did make a great point. They ask you, hey, anybody coerce you, you feel like you, they ask each individual by themselves. They all can say, yeah, this happened. Why didn't any of them say, yes, she talked to me. She told us to watch for body language and don't be fooled by his testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the prosecution didn't even say that.
So if he get a second trial, you think he gonna testify in this one?
Yep, because then it would look like he got something to hide.
He do.
But if they new trial, all that old testimony got to be struck.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be interesting. So good. All right, y'all. We up out of here.
See y'all later.
We leave.
Hey, look, I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of those. I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of those. I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of those. I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of clothes.
I got me a lot of those. Sean Johns and Polos. You say you rockin' Jordans. I even got a lot of those. I say I got a lot of hoes. White girls, Latinos. I even got them Asian ones from the Filipinos. I smoke a lot of Greeno. Got money like casino. I got a lot of ones and I got a lot of Cino. I got a lot of swag. I'm something like a hero. I got a lot of haters. They mad just like Neo. I got a major client all the time. I'm in beast mode. I got a lot of spots. Ain't no telling where I sleep though. I got a lot of heat though, but not a lot of beef though. Cause all you heard is switch. I'm shooting like a free throw.
I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of those. I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of those. I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of those. I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of this. I got me a lot of clothes. I got me a lot of hoes. Hoes all around the bed and dark in they dark. Yeah, all she wanna do is strip. Booty bouncing up and down just like a tennis ball. Say she bought my CD from a nigga at the Raleigh Mall. I don't rock no Louis bag. I just rock that gangsta shit. Get money from my college bread. Kick you with my gangsta beat. I got me a lot of clothes. Back is calling UPS. Look into my closet, bet you see a couple hundred sets. Don't believe me, wanna bet. 5 or 9, 6 or 8. Cornblade, color bitch. Same color Lisa Ray. I got me a lot of dough. In my pocket, fuck a stash. I got me a lot of hoes. Shake up like an hourglass. I got me a lot of hoes. I got me a lot